Hi folks, welcome to Manhattan. Today I have the pleasure of giving you a first look at one of the worst kept secrets of the year, but something that's hotly anticipated, the new Nikon ZF full frame retro style camera. Of course, you know they have the ZFC, which is the APS-C format. About, I don't know, a decade ago we had the DF, which was a DSLR digital fusion, DF. Now we have a full frame version based on the styling of an FM2 Nikon, and a lot of the specs have leaked, but there's a few things that might surprise you. So before we start shooting, let me run you through the top line. First off, this guy is sporting a 24.5 megapixel sensor, same kind of ballpark as a Z6 II, but there's lots of things that kind of position this halfway between a Z8 and a Z6 II. It's got the new X-Speed 7 processor, same as the Z8 and Z9. It's got the same EVF as a Z8 as well. It'll shoot H.265 10-bit video, 4K 30p, 4K 60, however, is cropped. It does have a 1080 120 frame per second mode. No 8K available on this guy. I'm not sure that the SD cards would actually support that kind of resolution. In terms of autofocus, this has, again, kind of a hybrid between the two different tiers within the current range. It's got 299 points, so an increase on the Z6 II. But again, it's got some of the features coming down from the flagship model. So this does have 3D tracking, which I'm really happy to see. Whether you're looking for a really retro experience or not, it's kind of a funny thing. Often when people think about a retro camera, they want it fully pared back, no video, simple autofocus. But the reality when you get out there, having those as an option, they're not in your face, to be able to flick the switch and find them is really handy. So today we're going to be doing mainly indoor portraits, and I will be taking advantage of all of those autofocus capabilities. If you're considering stepping up to the ZF, or if you have any Nikon Z camera and you want to learn how to properly use all of the different features of these advanced cameras, check out my expert setup guide. It's already been updated to cover the ZF. It also covers the Z8, Z9, and the entire range, including all of the APS-C models. It'll show you how to initially set them up for best results, run you through every single physical control on each of the different cameras, and take you through a complete menu deep dive showing you all of the different customization and settings options that these highly customizable cameras offer you. Link for that is in the description below. You can stream or download it instantly. It does have a magnesium alloy body. I don't have the full specification if it's the entire body or just most of the panels, but it feels rugged and really nice in the hand. It's a little heavier than the Z6 II. You have the option of the added grip that you can put onto this guy. It's going to be a little different in each market. And something really cool, this is the first Nikon Z camera that's offering pixel shift. You can bump that 24.5 megapixel resolution up to 96 megapixel. It'll shoot a series of different images, shifting the sensor around and combining them up to 32 different RAW files to make one super resolution file. And one other thing that I at least hadn't read in the leaked rumors is it does have a fully variable LCD, which again, every spec is going to split. You'll have some people who love it, some who wish it had the opposite, and some who don't care. I can kind of see why some people might be put off by this. They think of it as being a vlogging screen, and if you're into vlogging, then it's actually a great thing. But the reality is it lets you close off the back of the camera, so you just have that textured finish, which is much more like a film experience if you just want to interact with the EVF, or you can completely shift it around for when you want to be able to review your images. Also, as someone who doesn't like crawling around on the ground but does like interesting vantage points, to be able to get down low to the ground and look down onto it without having to kneel down on the ground is also quite handy. Same for up high shots. Now, big thanks to Nikon USA for getting me early access to the ZF to test out. I have to disclaim that this is a pre-production camera. We were way ahead of the launch schedule with this guy. So whilst I can tell you the shooting experience was really great, I don't know how final the camera was, but I'm not able to give you download files at this stage. So I have to say I was a little surprised that looking through the rumors, people were expecting it to only be, around $2,000, that it is, and it's delivering on a lot more things than I had expected with the X-Speed 7 processor and 3D tracking and, fairly capable video capabilities. I think at $2,000, this is going to sell like crazy. Apparently, it will come in 2 different kit forms as well. One with the 40mm 2.8 SE lens, this kind of retro-themed lens, as well as the 24-70 f4 lens. In terms of styling, it does kind of feel I don't have them here side by side, but it does feel somewhere between the DF and the ZFC. Definitely not as chunky, and it feels more ergonomic than the DF did, in my opinion. You've got your top dials with instant access to your aperture and your shutter speed, your exposure compensation, and your different shooting modes. You also see there's a sub-dial under your shutter speed that lets you access photo, video, and a dedicated black and white mode. So this is basically just enabling the black and white picture profile. It's not going to be recording black and white to your RAW file, but your JPEG, if you've got a JPEG sidecar, will be recorded. With 2 different options under there, you've got a new deep tone monochrome for a really high contrast, and then a flat monotone as well. So for those of you who want that old black and white experience, you have that as a dedicated switch on the top of the camera. Quick shout out to model Kelsey. She was great to shoot with. It was at really late notice that I was able to get access to the camera, and we were so rushed. She rushed from room to room, changing outfits so we could get these done. I was operating multiple different cameras by myself, but finally, I think it's better to just cut this as a first impressions short, and I'm gonna make a second video that takes you through a more immersive hands-on shooting. So look, I'm back in Hong Kong now. It was simply too rushed. I got a really good first impression shooting the camera. I think it's honestly really great value. I think the only thing that would probably hold people back is if 24.5 megapixels works for you. But lots of upgrades over something like a Z6 Mark II, and the styling, I think, well, it's always going to be contentious. There's always going to be different opinions on any camera, let alone something that's taking unique styling. Especially because when you look at a retro camera, like one of the ones that it's based on, this is an FE, not an FM2, it's basically impossible to get it to exactly mirror and exactly have the proportions and dimensions. But I think they've come so close, and it looks just fantastic. And I really think it's the closest we've seen. Definitely better than a ZFC, definitely closer in terms of ergonomics than the DF was. And I think it has all of the elements there that could really satisfy the market. Yes, there will be people who wish it had higher resolution, but I remember back in the day, like 10 years ago, when we were looking at 8, 12, 14, 16 megapixel DSLRs, and then going up to 24, and then the D800 came out, and we're looking at 36 all of a sudden. Someone did the math that even on the finest film stock and scanned as best as possible, you were really looking at about a maximum effective resolution of about 24 megapixels on film. So maybe the ZF absolutely hits it out of the park in that regard. Anyway, it's pouring with rain outside. Maybe you can hear the thunder. Tomorrow I'm heading out here in Hong Kong to get more hands-on time with the ZF. So quickly leave me your comments. What would you like to see me test? I've got an indoor location and an outdoor location in mind. I want to put it through its paces, answer whatever questions that you have about it. So leave me a question below, and by the time you're seeing this, my expert setup guide has been updated with the ZF. You can download it or stream it immediately for this or any of the cameras in the range to get them set up right. Cheers guys, I'll see you soon.